I'm Thomas with the Carvajal Group.
Hi, I'm Dina Carvajal with the Carvajal Group Sales Division with Thomas Russell.
And I'm Jim Carvajal.
Hold on.
Wow, they are bossy. This is why people have problems with directors.
Yes.
This is Jim Carvajal with the Carvajal Group.
I'm Eddie Tenacho with the Carvajal Group, property manager.
In my opinion, obviously working in the sales department, I feel like it is more advantageous for a person to purchase a property instead of rent, because you are going to build long-term wealth if you continue on that path, if you continue to grow your properties after your initial investment. So for me, I definitely am pro buying over renting.
But if you're a renter, why would you want to sink your money into a property not knowing what's going to happen in the future, or taking away all your money to put into a deposit when you could just rent and live maintenance free?
Okay, I mean, on that note, why invest in your kids where you have no idea what's going to happen to them in the future?
On that note, why even have kids?
I'm not going to talk.
Are we talking about Christians?
We gotta get personal right quick. We're talking about people's kids now.
That's it. Where's my attorney?
I'm all about taking control of your own destiny. I'm in charge when I own it. I don't have to talk to you knuckleheads.
And I'm all about taking less risk. So, the hot water heater breaks down, I don't have to pay for it. The owner does.
Well, that's an interesting conversation, except, you own the hot water heater. So you can determine, what you want to go on next. If you want to replace the hot water heater or you need to replace it, you, again, are building your equity, you're building your wealth. And, property that you buy today, 10 years from now, is going to be, hopefully worth a lot more. So you're investing in your future and in your, hopefully your kids and your grandkids' future with this property and future properties that you purchase.
Right.
But a lot of tenants, they don't know what to do if the water heater breaks, right? That's why they want to rent, because they just want the simplicity of, I just pay the bill, it's all taken care of for me, and I don't have to worry about that. And it's up to the owner to pick what it is, provided that I just keep paying the rent. They take care of it, so it's stress-free for me as a renter, as well as if I don't have the money saved up, I don't need to. All I have to do is just pay my rent. I don't have to, I can invest my money in the stocks, bonds, or something else. And I understand that real estate could be an investment vehicle, but I just don't want to have to deal with it. I'd rather just invest in something that I can sell immediately and liquidate and get my money back out.
I would argue that, yes, I get where you're coming from, where it's stress-free, but it creates a different kind of stress, especially when you're approaching the end of that lease and you don't know what's going to happen. Leases don't go down, they go up. So at the end of your terms, you're looking at your security deposit, all the money that you invested just to get into the place. Who gets that back? Most of the time, you're not getting all of it back, maybe only a portion of it. So all of that money could be as good as gone. What is your terms going to look like on the next lease? Can you afford the next lease that they're going to put in front of you? If you can't, then now you're on a short window where you have to go scramble and find somewhere else to live. Mm-hmm. And then you have the moving expenses on top of that. When you own, you have complete control over that process.
To an extent, because your taxes are going to go up. Your insurance is going to go up. And as an owner, you have to keep up with that, because if not, your mortgage will go up as well. And there's nothing to say that your home will still be worth more than when you bought it for. There was several times in the economy that the prices went down, and now the owners are upside down on their mortgage, and they don't know what to do. And what did they end up doing? They walked away from those mortgages and let those homes go back to the bank. As a renter, you don't have to deal with that. Yes, the rent could go up. The rent could also go down if there's a overflow of properties that are not rented out. It just seems like it's more like a personal choice of the risk that the renter or the buyer wants to take. My biggest perspective is the renters, from what I've gathered, for the most part, they really like the simplicity of not having to worry about it. Most of them will tell me that, and it's not saying that I don't agree with you, because I own my own home too, but from a renter's perspective, I know that they don't want to be married to a specific property. If the neighbors change and they hate the neighbors, at the end of that year, they can leave, or at the end of the lease, they can leave. Where when you buy a home now they're locked in. So they have to try to deal with that neighborhood or the neighbor and make the change or be more proactive to making the change. So the rental aspect, I think, is just easy. For those that want control, I would agree that buying is probably the better option because you have full control. But for those that want simplicity, rental might be the simpler option for those.
Well, I feel like it's only as complicated as you really want to make it. If you own a place and you don't like where you live, you can always move. You can put it up for sale, or you can hire somebody like yourself to bring some fantastic tenants in there and use that property that you own now to leverage the equity and maybe find yourself something else. Yeah. You could start building an empire that way. People always approach me and when we have these conversations, I'm a little nervous about paying a mortgage. Well, why? You're already paying a mortgage. It's just somebody else's. Let's take control over that.
Okay.
I just don't like the fact that I'm tied down to a certain location. I want to be able to get up and go whenever I want. You know, as a single guy with no dogs, no kids, if I want to pick up and go, I can do that. It's a
But
lot
don't
easier
you
for
like
me.
the idea of the property that, you know, maybe you just purchased, you're looking at the equity continue to grow, and doesn't that excite you? You know, if a tenant, if you're explaining that to them in that perspective too and help them understand, again, they're building their financial future. I think it's in how you spend the conversation, you know, to help a tenant understand you don't want this to be your future forever. And true, the economy did go down in 2008, but the prices have rebounded plus some from that time. So just like with anything, the economy goes up, it goes down, it comes back up. But we look forward to the future continuing to go up with the real estate market. So, you know, I think tenants, if you give them the right perspective, then they'll understand that it can be a great investment.
But it's risky because those tenants that when the economy went down and lost their homes, because a lot of them were owners, they probably won't come back to buying.
I've seen a lot of my clients that did crash and burn during 2008. They rebounded because we had those conversations to say, hey, let it, you know, just let it go. You know, just like we had to do. You know, we were some of those people that lost our properties and we had to rebound and we had to say, it happened, it's over, but this is not going to keep me from getting back in the market and continuing to build my wealth. You know, some of the wealthiest people out there, some of the smartest people out there have gone through these similar times, and you know, we've learned from them. Just keep it moving on. I don't want to stay a tenant forever. I've seen tenants that are like older people that have never owned a property, and they're continuing to get shuffled around from property to property because the owners are constantly wanting to sell. That's no way to live.
But right now we also have another problem, and the problem is that there's so much competition out there to even buy a home that some people are just getting upset and they're saying, forget it. I'm just going to keep renting for now because I can't get in. You hear every single day in the news, offers going in 50,000, 60,000 over asking price, and they're still losing, you know, the deal. So a lot of people stick with renting for that reason because it goes back to the simplicity of it. And a lot of them are going to wait, I think, until the market goes back down or settles some so it's not as competitive. But it's pros and cons, you know, for both. I mean, and I think really it just comes down to is what people are comfortable with, right? Some people, maybe they're renters and they would love to buy, but they can't. They're not at that position. They don't have money saved up. Their credit is not where it needs to be. They just started a new job and maybe their lender can't qualify them. Other people that are tenants, you know, have maybe loved the idea of renting, but if they also have something like a dog, or cats, like plural, like multiple cats or multiple dogs, they may not be able to get into a rental. So at that choice, they might be better candidates to buy as well, again, for the control of it. So it's just a hard thing. You can argue both sides all day long, and trust me, we do. We all do. But the bottom line is it's all about what you're comfortable doing and being, I guess, educated, right? Because we just argued two sides, I think, very good. And this is what goes on in a typical buyer or renter's head. What do they do and what's the best option?
I think having the right people in place that have your interests first to help you learn what's going on in the marketplace and pick the right decision for you, that means everything.
And relationships over transactions. You know, just
100%.
help people understand what is the best option for them. It may not always be purchasing. Maybe renting is in their immediate future, but it could change, you know, going forward.
Right. So when do we start the fist fight?
Who got the gloves? We're doing this barefisted?
Old fashioned style.
Let's go.
All right, we good?
Yes, we're good, Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you.